This might just be the biggest drama of 2025. And as always, internet picks the wrong side. I don't have to show you this, but internet is very passionate at leaving one-liners, and there's not a single person who actually broke through and gave me something not negative, basically. But when you run out of arguments, the only thing you have is insults. So when it comes to internet versus content cop, I have receipts. I would not insult myself, but here's all the insults that I have received. There's like 10 of them. And there's not a single person who actually said anything of substance. They just attacked me as a character, a part of this drama. Why would they attack me? Because I'm on a, rare side of agreeing with Content Cop? Although Idubbz presents himself as a toxic person. He has a cigarette in his mouth. He puts on more just to be sure. But it gives you the vibe of like he feels the calling for something. He needs to do something special. And this is where it comes, you know? This is where the revival of Content Cop actually comes, and Idubbz has a chance to just stand for his values, ignore the rest of the internet, and continue on improving his content quality, because we can now expect another Content Cop and another one. And at some point, internet is going to get enough punches in its face where we will have to accept that Idubbz is not a stupid person. You know? That Idubbz successfully rebranded himself back to normal. This was an actually successful Content Cop. You want to agree on that or not. Unfortunately, you have to submit that this was successful. And everyone is talking about it. The unfortunate other thing that you have to agree on is that I don't deserve all these insults and something crazy is going on. I'm gonna pull out self-improvement matrix because people need to improve themselves. I believe when it comes to existence on the internet, you can only go so far. But we're just gonna talk about improvement levels. Meaning we're talking this. I don't know these people, but they would be able to communicate properly whether they have friends or whether they just have collected self-esteem. Either way, they would be on the same level. So, who are these people on the lowest level? What's going on here? And I will bring up one of those people right now. He's pretty big of a person, but he's gonna get cut in half. His name is Russia, my friends. This country does not want to exist anymore. Doesn't want to exist in the way that it does. Having too much land is actually a negative thing. And Russia has to rebrand itself by giving away half of the land to Europe. You know, casual deal, right? Well, that's what it is. Russia wants to give half of the land to Europe. No bully spawns out of nowhere. Russia couldn't just come up with the idea of like, let's attack Ukraine. That's what a bully would do. That's the lowest level person that we all avoid. Every single person out there is trying to avoid NPCs, trying to avoid triggering someone to attack them, to rob them, and even waste their time. Because being barked on is also pretty unpleasant. So, here you go, my friends. And when you have too much, your ego kind of falls down. You know, you can spawn a child and just actually fall down. Until you are cut in half. Until you are demoted. If you exist in this level, basically, because your consciousness is like, I don't know. It's a rainbow. But if you touch people with your lowest consciousness, it's over, dude. You're gonna get cut in half. You're gonna lose something. So in terms of Russia, like, everyone knows now that NATO will completely obliterate Russia if they had to defend themselves. And the only way to defend yourself, funny enough, is to remove the military of Russia, to actually disarm these fuckers. Whoever is the aggressor technically does not really matter, as whoever wins the war matters. But clearly Russia cannot win the war against Ukraine, so if they start a bigger one, there's gonna be losses 10 times bigger than what they already lost. And at some point, we have to take land. We have to take place where we can actually build homes and reduce the cost of living, basically. That would be very nice. What a kind man this is. You know, somehow he hated his own country so much that he demoted himself to this, and only after big change happens will he come back to normal, where he used to be, just one step lower, because he was not able to control himself or his country for some fucking reason, basically, despite taking the position of power, right? If you're in a position of power, might as well fucking try to control the savages, if that's all that Russia contains. I don't know. The little boy didn't do his job, basically. And he became scary. You know, when you cannot negotiate, when you cannot even talk to a person, and he breaks all the ceasefires, and Trump is like, they are a big country, we have to negotiate, you know? That's what he thinks. It's like, but unfortunately, it's a big bully, and that's not a big country. A big bully is not a big country. Big bully is just someone who's gonna get cut. And people have to join in and do the damn thing. Butcher, basically. Someone who failed. And obviously this trickles up. Culture of Russia and everything is at fault here. But it's just a very simple thing that you don't do. You don't attack other people. You don't leave nasty comments, because that is already an attack. That is already, you're so invested into the drama, into a specific side of the drama, that you are blindfolded to the other side of things. I'm just trying to explain. I'm desperately trying to explain why this content cop is not a failure. What things the rest of the internet has to consider, first and foremost, before they even go into discussion and into like this mutual agreement that yes, content cop was a failure somehow. See, it's very easy to just give in to the ratio, basically. It's so easy to just please the internet, of like, internet hates this for some reason, because it's attacking Jews or something. Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't understand why internet hates this. And technically, internet sees as like Idubbz initiating this sort of a breakup and siding with the bad guys. So not only he's showing a toxic personality, but he's showing this personality willing to side with the bad guys, basically. That's pretty bad, right? If you read too much into it, it's bad. But that's what Ethan did, and he picked up the meme. He was like, wake up, Ethan. That's the only meme that now plays in his head. This is literally how they started the video, right?
Wake up.
Wake.
And now it just plays in his head. And maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. You know? But Idubbz is playing card after card very successfully, reviving Content Cop and planting a parasite in H3H3, and he knows H3H3 is also gonna react, and the dude reacted for 5 hours. The dude took 5 hours publicly on the internet. Even Gokanaro, bro, is doing exactly the same thing, and it's like, what the fuck am I watching, bro? Why are people dumping basically their podcasts onto this issue? That makes no fucking sense. It makes sense for me to do it because I'm a fucking nobody, bro, on this platform in terms of our ratio. But it's crazy to think that everyone is doing it. Everyone is throwing their podcast in there. Of like, what? Don't you actually have an opinion? Doesn't internet personalities have opinions anymore? More Pegasus is the only fucking person basically who has an opinion but does not have an opinion because he's only covering drama for the sake of covering drama. He's just reporting of what the fuck's going on. That's it. No other person actually came out with a fucking opinion. Maybe this guy. Maybe that guy did. Let's check it out. I don't know. But you can already see how internet kind of degenerated in some kind of regard, basically. We allowed podcasts to manifest as if it's like a good thing to do, but it's not exactly. And when I had to watch 5 hours of H3 reacting to a video, I mean, you can lose your fucking mind. But yeah, basically, if you do something like this, you have to lose something. I have to make sure you lose something. There's no fucking way you pass. The biggest thing that I can take away from you is your right to comment on my channel. That's it. That's all I can take away from you. However, I know in the future, I will have a juicy list of banned people that most of the internet will not want to interact with, will not want to allow you to type in comments to their videos either, because you have degenerated into a pile of this. You have degenerated into like, I show you this comment, I'm receiving a lot of insults, I'm creating a monolith basically of insults, and you just jumped in there, just jumped on the spikes. I want to be a YouTube CEO, and I want this to be my first and foremost move on the internet. I need to remove bullying from the fucking comment section. And I'm actually willing to fucking do that, unlike most people. Bullying has to stop. Bullying has to get consequences. And the biggest consequence is finally you'll be able to read comments. Oh wow, and be incentivized to be nice. And I don't care what the problem with being nice is. There is no problem in the reality, you know? That's all you have to do, is not be a fire-spitting fucking idiot, and you'll be able to improve yourself, you'll be able to make friends, bump into people randomly and do random things with random people. Wow, who would have thought? But if you start insulting them, they will leave you alone. Who would have thought, right? My friends left me alone because I insulted them, but in a way it felt like they just want to solidify my self-esteem. That they're sort of leaving me behind, but it's my path to improve my self-esteem. My path is to improve my path in life. So they just gotta leave me behind, unfortunately. And I might do it again, you know? I might do it again. I might have done it already. Who knows? So that's all you need to do to improve yourself, is to not be that person. This person kind of lacks integrity. You need to be honest, right? And say out loud arguments when it's applicable. Don't waste time. When you feel that the person that you're going to talk to is responsible, so they will respond to you, very likely, you can send them a message. And as long as you're reasonable, you'll get what you deserve. You will grow as a person. And that's it. One person that taught me you need an argument is the guy who's next to Joe Rogan. When he first started, Joe Rogan first started, STEFAN MolyneuX happened to be a very important personality to talk to. Isn't that crazy? Second thing I would do as YouTube CEO is reinstate Stefan Molyneux, because what the fuck happened? Why would an actually intellectual person lose ability to post on YouTube? That makes no fucking sense. See, this was a raid basically of Alex Jones' raid, and they just casually gobbled Stefan Molyneux's channel at the same time. There's no real political raids going on anymore, and the right wing actually won the election. There's no reason not to reinstate Stefan Molyneux right now on YouTube. I wouldn't go as far as to reinstate Andrew Tate. That is way too far in the political spectrum. Way too right wing, but this is just barely on a political side of things. And so people wanted to, you know, cancel whoever they can get away with. It's hard to wrap my head around of like how did it actually happen. So this guy's ban is actually hard to believe. Like absolutely hard to believe. But it's the guy who shouted argument first and foremost. To have an argument is to answer why. If you want to make an insult, like, why would you say that? If you actually give me an insult and then explain why, you would at least have made an argument. That argument would still be cut in half because you're potentially still attacking me and arguing for the attack. Actually, people had arguments previous video when I made on this content cop drama, right? When I called out Ethan as toxic Jew, people used it to sort of argue themselves in. Now they have nothing. They have nothing to hold on to. Like, people would argue if I made a mistake, they would use it as an argument. Absolutely. They would be able to actually climb the fucking hill, basically. Because people kind of like to do that. They like to be superior. But they don't even find a single mistake. The only thing they attack is my character. Everything my character embodies is bad, basically. That not having enough subscribers is bad. That I'm making bad video. You know, yeah, it's bad quality. But everyone is doing the fucking podcast format. Wake up. Wake up, internet, bro. Everyone is making dog shit content. I'm just one of these guys, you know? One of these guys who have 10 times more subscribers, but they don't have the 10 times bigger quality, you know? And by saying 10 times, more like 50 times? 50 times, and you combine them together, so it's 100 times? Yeah, what ratio? Like, my content is exactly on the same level, but even then, I actually represent the opposition. I can stand ground where nobody stands. It's no man's land. To support Idubbz Content Cop? Are you fucking kidding me? No one's doing it. Who has the balls, basically, is now the real question. If this is genuinely going to be the biggest drama on the internet and people are genuinely interested, someone has to stand up and defend the opposition to make things more interesting. If there's not enough people clashing, unfortunately, this drama will flop. But fortunately, I can dominate. And this is the video that you're watching. You're watching domination. It don't matter how many people you put together, how many people you pack into a package. An argument stays an argument. An argument is a pretty fucking strong thing, basically. It's a future predicting move, basically. And if I can pack many arguments and stand ground versus the rest of the world, we're talking about high-level shit right now. We're talking Scott Pilgrim level shit. It's my favorite movie. And the dude is technically claiming in the title of the movie that he's fighting the world. He's wrong. He's not fighting the world. He's just fighting 7X's. But it's just one step away from being the hero that would be willing to fight the entire world. To fight 7X's, that's pretty good. You know? That's high ratio. High chance of failure. Many chances you have to fail. And it was a fucking hard-fought battle that I will never forget, guys. And there were plenty of movie stars in there that you can actually call this your favorite movie, which is for real. Now, as I'm fighting the internet, I don't actually have the other side of things where, like, I'm in love or something. There's no happy ending for this, unfortunately. I will win, and that's it. No happy ending. Very likely, no happy ending, unfortunately. You might just see me break up with some women rather than actually fall in love, so brace yourselves. My explanation to this is, if I am improving fast enough, no women can actually catch me, and I just deny their existence, basically, and move on. Make them cry, get shocked, I don't care. Whatever they embody, they're gonna get more of that and less of me. I will help them grow, and by helping them grow, I will show them that I don't need their help. That's it. So, I would actually like to click on one of these videos. I would actually like to chill. I think I've sent most of the things that have to be said. So, the resolution of this drama is that this is very simple. You have to simplify. In order to win any drama, simplify. In order to do good programming, simplify. You want to win programming? You want to be a programmer like me? And cure the world's biggest disease, which is polygons? God damn, that's nasty. Polygons, bro? Brother, So, the simple version of what happens is one guy broke up with the other guy, who was a very, very toxic guy who was releasing podcast after podcast, spitting fire in every direction, and he addressed all those things. Every single thing was addressed. And he even have his own podcast, technically, that Ethan acknowledged, and he's like, oh, hey guys, watch his podcast. But he actually feels guilty, you know? He actually was detecting, like, jealousy or whatever, where probably jealousy did not exist. He's just feeling guilty. He's just, like, looking for what do I give to actually get out of this drama unharmed. He's already losing ground. And there's nothing you can do to put Ethan together, basically. He's already losing ground. Like, the only thing you have to do is understand that Ethan lost his legacy. He has moved on from his channel, that his whole career was just seeking enemies. And unfortunately, you can only do this for so long until the whole strategy falls apart. And now Idubbz be like, well, you have been seeking enemies left and right. What about me? Do you want me as your enemy? And it's like, that shit is crazy. Idubbz has the capacity to be a formidable foe. To bond all these creatures together and really pack a punch. And that's exactly what Content Cop was about. Now, internet is not ready to accept a change like this, I imagine. It's very difficult to accept changes. But when you simplify like this, the only point Idubbz is actually making is how toxic and goblin mode and into demon mode Ethan is evolving and deserves to be, you know, retaliated against. That's it. And then he's like, well, I found new friends and hopefully that works out. And those friends tell him basically nice things in the end. That's it. That was the whole fucking video. Simple version of that. And it's actually shocking to me that you would actually pick Ethan's side. and even talk about Jews. Like, there's nothing to talk about. I say toxic Jew because even the Jew part is overrated. It's overused. It is not relevant in this discussion. Whether someone is Jewish or Muslim, like, I don't care about this shit, bro. I care about content quality, however, and even though Idubbz does not have content quality, he's known for content cop. He brought this up and slapped it as this high quality video, you know? And we actually we want high quality videos. We don't want podcasts anymore. We want to escape. So underrating content cop is actually kind of crazy. Now, when I first reacted to it, I also felt like it wasn't good enough even to be entertaining. But it became exponentially more entertaining, realizing that internet does not like this video. And now I'm just, what happened exactly? What's going on? Even Idubbz like has more subscribers than the guy. Like, what are we talking about? Anyways, I'll stand my ground. The best thing we can do is react to STEFAN MolyneuX. Whatever's left of him, basically. He's still out there. He's still pumping videos. Alright? He's still helping people out and answering their questions, basically. And please feed the dragon, because that's what it is. Please go out of your way, type into Google his name, find him on a different platform. I already forgot what it is. There's the right-winger platform where all of them get, you know, banned into. But this guy, like, literally the most innocent person, like, for real, dude. So do we dodge everything? Brain dead. Rent-free. I'm dodging this thing. End of Ethan career. I would be dodging most of the insults if I just stay away from drama, because drama is pretty toxic, okay? In fact, it takes so much time for it to resolve, and most of the time, it's actually not gonna resolve. It's just gonna happen and gonna stay there. Drama is just gonna stay there unresolved. Like, you don't understand. I have been through drama personally. And what happens is that drama happens. And then the silence. Because drama's still evolving. You cannot hurt other people without consequences. People will take this and they will grow. Just to return again. And when the drama resurfaces, then it's gonna hurt. The bullies are gonna get bullied now. And in this meantime, I have to grow my ass off so I can actually deliver the punishing blow. Fist of justice, bro. God slap, as Penguin Zero suggests. Wait, where is Penguin Zero? What the fuck is going on? That is a big question. Because he genuinely has somewhat of an ability to think for himself. And that's why people actually attempt to relate to the dude. Being able to think for yourself is just like everything. Is everything. So where's the content cop reaction thing? We need one of those, you know? How old is content cop? Like, that's crazy. If he actually haven't reacted, wow. That is the most craziest thing I've ever seen on the internet, guys. That your Jesus decided to not react to content cop. To not say anything about the situation. Can you imagine that? I cannot understand that. My mind cannot comprehend this. I'm sorry, it's like, you're fucked. Bro is happily playing Oblivion Remastered, and honestly, I can't blame him. Yeah, your internet Jesus couldn't even pick a side, couldn't even address the issue. Elephant in the room. Uh-oh. So in this domination episode, I want to just prove that I have better things to do. It's completely fine. I'm kind of interested in Thunderfoot's video. Like, I want to see how he treated Stefan Molyneux, and if Stefan actually was somehow controversial back in the day. Liar. I want to know controversies first. Let's go. This guy is just the man.
People find controversial.
One of the things that is controversial that he stands for is talking about vaccines, abortions, all the political stuff. He's trying to actually break down the logical positioning, basically, of the right wing. Like, he's the most solid right-winger you can possibly imagine, the solid man that everyone needs. And again, I encourage you guys to find him on the internet. Rumble, right? We have Rumble. And get a taste of what his podcast feels like, because it is on a different scale. As to my Content Cop reaction and calling Idubbz hairless rat, he's excused. He's no longer he wins the drama because internet just happens to pick a side, you know, as they usually do. And unfortunately for them, that's not what you do. You know, you don't just, like, pick a side. You wait. You have patience. You wait until, like, Penguin Zero responds and ask him to respond of, like, what do you think? People have zero patience. They want to know who won and move on with their day because they need to, like, morality boost themselves. And it's like, well, Idubbz attacked Ethan. Ethan didn't even provoke him. And it's like, okay, I guess Ethan wins. Okay, I can move on, right? Internet is impatient right now, when they should be learning something. It is great opportunity for growth, and I want to deliver that full extent of the opportunity. So when it comes to continuing your growth, you have to take yourself outside and meet a new person. That's my suggestion. Let's listen.
Controversial about you. I think, do you want to make your argument that the sun is the center of the solar system? It's like, well, it's not a personal information, just for those who want to know. So the U.S. Army, for over 100 years, has been giving more or less IQ tests to people to figure out whether they're sort of officer material.
Yeah, even Army does not allow dumb losers to participate. Because it's a life and death situation. And one single step can blow you up, basically. One single mistake and you lose your life. But you get a chance to take other people's lives, which can be exciting when we're talking about NPCs losing their lives. Fuck yeah, dude. But you take a wrong fucking person out, and you're gonna be in a hell of a lot of trouble. So you need a good IQ to be an army. But same goes with any type of drama or conflict. You need high IQ to defeat controversies.
Or talking about.
And technically, IQ matters, right? If we wanted to actually solve conflict, we would need to listen to higher IQ people. Higher IQ does not mean more subscribers, by any means. But how many people have ever uploaded a drama video and side by side there's education video and there is, like, talking about inner systems of how computers work? In particular, computer graphics, because that's the biggest issue, that is still the hottest topic that never got solved. Computer graphics, my friends. That is what makes Oblivion Remastered a thing, but that thing is 100 gigabytes of size. That is not actually high level of detail. It's just a lot of gigabytes have been poured in for textures and all the nasty shit. My engine would not take up that much space in your computer, nor it would be difficult to install and load and all that shit. Nor would you think about the specs of your computer when you play my games. Just solving one problem, just solving one controversy is so groundbreaking for the rest of humanity. And guess what? That requires high IQ. That's what we're talking about. That you have to actually lean, not in a political way, but find the highest IQ, nearest highest IQ person you can find. And unfortunately, Stefan Molyneux be hidden by one layer. If I needed to go to highest IQ person, that's my guy. That's the guy who brings up the IQ as a subject in the first place. Even after a ban, he can still do this magic trick. Unbelievable.
Everybody kind of knows deep. You know, there's not a lot of famous Jewish architects or engineers.
And that, my friends, is called a glitch. When we are actually talking about Jews, here's a Jew over here. Am I anti-Semitic, guys? Oh, oops. We're just having a civil discussion. I'm not here to insult anyone unless they deserve it. And you can do whatever the fuck you want to interpret that as a mistake. Ethan deserves to be called out as a toxic Jew and be stayed away from. Because Jews are dramatic and toxic people are not worthy of your time.
Crazy high on verbal acuity, verbal reasoning. So, of course,
very dramatic, the Jews.
of course, you would expect 125.
That is so fascinating that we even glitched this guy into existence. I'm like, wow, kiss your feet, make you feel good because, damn, we're gonna lose this person at some point. You know, he's gonna get old. Shit, bro. I gotta calm my nerves, but like, the dude has to receive respect that he deserves, basically. Because holy shit, what is going on?
Not much more.
Alright, so he's also saying that Oriental people, Indians and Chinese or Asian, have a high spatial IQ. Whatever that means. But if we're just making a split distinction between verbal and spatial IQ, you can sort of understand that verbal IQ requires other human beings, and this is why these Stan countries like to make wars. Stan countries is the neighbors of Israel, by the way. And that involves Russia, too. It's a whole fucking region. It is technically counterintuitive, even though this is a human portal. So you would be like, I need verbal IQ to survive in a human portal, where most people basically live. But the reality is that, no. When the population is sparse, when there's like a lot of land in Russia, right? When population is sparse, the person you're gonna meet is gonna be life and death situation if you don't have good verbal IQ to be able to actually, well, survive the encounter and get value out of that encounter, to be able to improve yourself as a human being. And you probably don't want to stay in Russia when it becomes a toxic country and sends people to war. You don't want to stay there. So, verbal IQ is required, basically, for these countries. Even though the population is sparse, and the population being abundant, is like, what can you do for that population? You need to have spatial, I don't know, IQ, as he said. But in a way, you have to have this analytical and logical IQ of being able to bring something to the people that people would appreciate. You can't just talk your way through. There's so many people that will be talking to each other by default. So it's natural that these are different regions. Very beautiful. And the fact that he found this, it actually connects with, you know, the ideas that I was having, and it is just another brilliant move.
Or because if you're looking at East Asians with very high spatial IQ, they're going to be, quote, overrepresented in those engineering fields and so on, but not your...
Yeah, and H3 is overrepresented in drama, where you have to bark on other people. Congratulations, H3. You have gained your representation. You definitely have the Jewish skills to make up for a really nasty retaliation to your friend. Uh-oh. And I even reacted to this. I don't want to really come back to it, but it's the roots, right? I reacted to this, which was supposed to be a response, and the dude is like, why did you not mention that CPS was called on me? Why don't you mention that I'm a victim, you know? Why would you do this? That's it. That's the whole video. Why this and that and that? And it's like, okay, you wanted a better content cop. That's impressive, Ethan. You just wanted a better content. But you know that if you wanted a better content cop, you would be more destroyed in this debate or whatever you fucking call it. You're not a spectator. Why the fuck he wants to have an improved version of content cop? You know? The only thing he can do is pick up flaws. He cannot make a decisive move whatsoever. So technically, that's why it's easy to side with Ethan of like, yes, we all want a better content cop. Please improve the content cop, please. You can do even better than that. Because, you know, it's rough around the edges because it has been a long time since we see one of those. And we want a really high quality one that really fucking punches through Ethan's face as if it's fucking polyester, bro. I don't know. That word is in my head right now. I had to use it even though polyester is actually not something it would punch through.
Run-of-the-mill vanilla Caucasians, low 60s. There are the indigenous people of Australia, I think, in the low 60s. And some of these numbers.
Yeah. Some of these numbers are very interesting. He actually analyzed the rest of the world, just like I naturally wanted to do. Eventually. You know, give me 3 years ago, right? And I wasn't good enough to even react to a video like this until fucking everything clicks into place so nicely.
Again, I don't have them all for this. Like, this is one of the most difficult facts I've ever had to absorb in my life. I mean,
IQ is a very simple thing. It's your ability to improve yourself on top of your self-improvement. Obviously, your improvement means multitude of things, but conflict happens naturally, and being able to solve that conflict shows your ability for capacity for IQ, and the IQ happens to be the last thing that happens, because after a lot of conflict, and when you see how conflict resolves, if it resolves in your favor, then funny enough, you have greater capacity for IQ. You have greater capacity for safety, because having high IQ means you'll feel more pain. Whatever happens, you know, you have a long way to fall, basically. But if you can win conflict, you can also avoid conflict. Which is why people like this will not really get in trouble. You know, people who typed in my fucking nasty comments. They will not get in trouble, but, you know, you still have to attempt to give them trouble. Or take advantage of them. They're free, you know? Radical particles get to be taken in as just free energy. Or as I also like to call it, a tiny little fish that grows me in subscribers. So please subscribe, guys. It's that time.
But I found candid, but I would give a lot I would give so much for it to just be racism. Black males, 3 to 4% of the American population responsible for more than 50% of the homicides. You look at what goes on in the South. If you normalize by IQ, everybody who has an IQ of 85 has similar levels of criminality. Whites in England, whites in Belgium, whites in America, all have the same level.
No. In England, there is one homicidal move that they can make. They can import migrants. That is so sad, unfortunately. It is outdated, unfortunately. Yes, potentially the stat still holds, but this homicidal thing is like sneaked into the country by women. By the way, it's women to be faulted to import spicy men from other countries.
Of harm to that. science is making its way forward, but it's such a volatile topic that a lot of scientists, would rather do anything than delve into this about race.
Yeah, this is a person you would love to meet, for sure. But I'll take it for myself. I'll take that opportunity if possible. I mean, I try to actually send like emails and all that shit to kind of sign up for this podcast session, but it's like it kind of fallen apart. And I can do much better.
And
without the need to try and please this guy and appear as a fucking audience member. I don't know.
Racism, there's no environmental causes. I've done lots of videos where I strongly urge the black community to breastfeed longer, to not hit their children, to do things that will give their kids the best shot.
People in America.
Let's call it shot in life.
Their ancestors.
Well, why do you even want to bring this up? Isn't this just going to fuel racists? And isn't this, it's like, well, first of all, it's an important fact. And we are tortured as a society by group differences. I mean, I think that's fairly, of tragedy, but it's no one's fault.
The IQ difference cannot be racist. It's just the fact that it has to be learned. But you can see how convenient it is to actually put this guy down and not allow him to actually bolster right-wing logical point of view. How dishonest. Uh-oh.
No vanilla white lie. It's a bold-faced lie that...
Yeah, so Stefan Molyneux defends his wife and is willing to lie for his wife, and all of a sudden gets in trouble? I don't know about that, I think that's pretty fucking low hanging fruit to try and use that to paint the character. Like, what? Get the fuck out of here, Thunderfoot. You're fucked.
cuts to the very core.
If he cuts to the very core, of course. That's how easy for him to do that. It is character. Like, oh wow, look at that. He starts with liar. I'm calling a liar. But no, it does not cut to the very core. Just because you found one lie that would naturally happen because someone would want to defend their wife and their reputation. It's just like, no. Shut the fuck up about it. And anyone who attacks is a fucking scumbag, basically. They are the ones actually exposing themselves. When you make moral decisions, even to lie can be a moral decision. Because nobody really needs to worry about the truth of what happened to your wife. That's the battles that you have. Those are the raised fist for the person that you built a close relationship with. You have to fight for them, no matter what. If they have lost reputation and that is going to be used somehow against you or against them, it's like, fuck off. You have to prove that you are beside them, that you're protecting them. So even if it's a lie, it is justified.
No, none of that is true.
It's the last time for the hard of hearing. Calling Molyneux a liar is not character assassination. It's not an ad hominem attack. It's a conclusion based on the facts. Nor does the fact that he advocates that his followers and obey all of the rules.
I pay my taxes.
If you are not intellectual person, then you should still try to not pay your taxes and see what happens. Tell you, it's the closest drama you can get, basically, is the government being bitter about you not paying them enough money. So this advice holds for the rest of the public and not him. Another thing that is easy to ignore, basically, as a point of view. Yeah, that was not very strong grounds to call someone an actual liar. But let's give him another shot,
Holding them fucking accountable. Every woman
It's over, guys.
who breeds with assholes is a traitor to virtue. And more than a colluder, but a creator of evil.
It's fairly easy to spot cults.
Don't you want a world of unconditional love?
Stefan Molyneux gets a value to be able to burn Thunderfoot, because Thunderfoot really asked for trouble. Thunderfoot is already leeching Elon Musk, I believe. Get Valley, Thunderfoot. Yep. We burn Elon Musk when we watch Thunderfoot. But Stefan Molyneux is even on a higher scale than Thunderfoot is over Elon Musk. And funny enough, as well, as a reference point, I made this video referring to, like, Elon Musk does not seem to have high IQ when it comes to conversation. He's just very good at buying up businesses and ideas and bolstering that shit to other people. So those ideas suddenly have value, and then you can sell those ideas and then buy more ideas.
Guaranteed following.
So it's so unwarranted to call out Stefan Molyneux as a cult leader, but this is just a fucking easy talking point. Easy talking point to grab and throw and smear all over someone's face of like, oh wow, it's a cult leader? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, maybe he's very good at having conversations with people, and Thunderfoot just happens not to choose that sort of career. Like, bro, give me a break. And I also absolutely appreciate the insight that was given. Again, anytime the evil guy chooses evil and puts a good guy, the way you know who's good is who you agree with tremendously. And even though this guy was trying to put Stefan Molyneux point, Thunderfoot was trying to put Stefan Molyneux point as like, wow, look, he's hating on women so hard or something. I don't know. That was like the greatest point ever. We are living through women apocalypse, and whatever women choose to do, if they choose to be with assholes, like, it would actually have tremendous impact to our society.
We have
Basically, what Thunderfoot is trying to do is demote Stefan Molyneux, potentially like higher level. Stefan Molyneux like level 4, let's say. And Thunderfoot is barely level 3, and he's trying to like pull down of like, why would you make a cult for this guy? Why would he be able to have such high ego? Like, fuck off, dude. That's what he's attempting to do publicly, and you have to be honest, and you have to publicly attack someone. Publicly attempt to defeat them. But unfortunately, the only person that was being able to take hits is Elon Musk. Like, Elon Musk sort of deserves scrutiny, right? I don't think in Stefan Molyneux's case, it will be hard to debunk this video, but hopefully we can get through this very quick.
Well, it makes them nervous.
Why?
Because that's
no, why?
the
I mean, this
principal,
is
it's principal directive
No.
of cults.
It's not.
That's not a
Otherwise,
principal
no.
directive.
Yeah, but cults are not inherently negative word, by the way. As long as the cult leader is public, does not hide anything, the cult is approachable by anyone who is interested, you know, let him have it. Let him do it. Let him breed a culture in a new country. Cult is just a few steps away from culture. Who would have thought, right? Culture actually is the uglier word because it sounds like a vulture. Cult does not sound like anything. And it seems to be a spark of a new culture. So, debunked. I'm sorry. What's the problem with the cult? What's the problem with, like, wow, we found a fucking high IQ person and we want to protect his beliefs and actually learn from him as fast as possible because he's gonna, like, die soon. That's what Pope is made out of. You know, that's why people flock around Pope. That's why people elect a president to try and elect as high of an IQ person, to try and change the world and try to, like, accept the changes, basically. That's what Americans try to do. Same goes with this situationship. You find a high IQ person and you have to bow down to make sure that they get to spread information, to deliver all the things before they die, at least. That's the purpose of a cult. A cult that does not have a purpose or has negative purpose, of course, is a terrible thing. But what people are discussing here is just it's a lot of power. That's why people are so interested. It's like there's a lot of power behind this, of collecting people basically in one place, right? That have a certain type of mindset and, you know, support a certain individual. Of like, why are you so special? All right, let's
because
continue.
otherwise-
And she got
You see, I like when drama resolves in such an interesting way, and how dominoes are falling on top of Thunderfoot himself. Apparently, every single Stefan Molyneux video that's public is already good enough, and there's plenty of them for you to chew on and extract so much value that you don't actually need the guy to be present on this platform. That's how powerful he is. Even after being deplatformed, he has so much influence, he has so much to offer, that you would have rather have a cult following him off the platform, because that's now is required. Now you have to be a part of a cult, because you're going to be part of a much, much tighter space if you want to follow this guy and bolster his presence, basically. Because you won't be able to do it here. You won't be able to do it conveniently anymore. This is how I find YouTube as a beautiful, vibrant platform with many things kind of falling like dominoes sometimes.
reprimanded for that. He's consistent with
Is the same argument being used the first few minutes, basically, that the wife did support this sort of ideology, but was publicly attacked, was publicly basically dragged through the mud because she was not be able to do that. And Stefan Molyneux, well, lost kind of like support system for himself as well. Even though he still continues to believe this very strong, that you have to cut off all the nasty shit from your life, if possible. Sometimes not possible. Sometimes too complicated. Then you accept it as best as you can, but my mom constantly throws reminders of like she's a toxic piece of shit, you know. Just has a casual illness to blow her nose. Like, I don't know. Anytime a genuine person comes into my life, I will trade my mom, Ian, for something better. I don't care. Shunning, bro. It's easy. In fact, it just happens naturally. I don't have any friends. You don't even have to force this to happen. To become a cult member, you don't have to do much. Just have to live your life and wake up one day, oh, I don't have any friends and I'm not connecting to my family members. That's all you need. And then you go and do something interesting with a group of people. How difficult is that, right? And oh no, there was scrutiny and like his wife got in trouble for this and it must be bad because the whole fucking association has punished her basically for talking about this and blah blah blah, right? And even Stefan Molyneux, well, had trouble being public with his point of views. Fascinating.
best.
This is a very powerful point again.
You either have to give up your values as a libertarian, or you have to give up the people who want you shot. The final result was that...
Yeah, that sounds pretty decent, right? Now the question is, do your family members want you to get shot? Do they not care about you, basically? This is the thing that you have to evaluate by yourself, and everyone's situation is different. I grew up with NPC parents who are not negative, but they're not very good either. They have friends and all that shit. My dad is capable of going into a foreign place and making money. They're not bad people like that. Alright? Like the most of humanity. But they're definitely not good enough for me to just stick around, you know? But first and foremost, I have to make some kind of achievements in my life and connect with powerful people. I can't just, you know, shunning in an unnatural way is not a good thing. Anything that's unnatural is pretty bad and shouldn't be recommended. So, on both sides, it's pretty decent thing to bring up. It's a very interesting topic. We don't have time for that, however. If you want me to continue, scream for part 2 and shun your friends, because you'll be busy for another next hour of watching my content. So thank you so much. Much appreciated for both people involved right now. I'll still connect them together. Bam. See you guys next time. Dominated. Ooga.